Hello, my name is Kond, and I was the Scrum Master for this sprint. We'll be going over some of the value that we've created over the sprint. So, this sprint focused on improving the gym management system so that the scheduling classes, managing rooms, and handling user data works more reliably and closer to how a real gym system would operate. One of the biggest improvements was around class scheduling. Owners can now schedule public classes through the interface, and the system automatically checks things like room availability, trainer availability, and belt rate requirements. This helps prevent scheduling conflicts and ensures that classes are created with the valid constraints, which makes the system safer and easier to manage. Uh, we also expanded the system so that owners can actually act as trainers, which will allow them to schedule themselves to teach classes and also view their own schedules. This adds a little bit of flexibility to the system, and we believe that it's closer to how a gym would operate in real life. And another improvement this sprint was around the user privacy and account separation. Notes and stickers are now tied to the user who created them, which means that only that user can see their own notes and stickers when they log in. This keeps information confidential and is not shared across different accounts. Lastly, we also improved room management. Users can now edit room details like room names and notes. And those changes persist in the system instead of resetting every time that specific interface closes. This makes the room management a little bit more clear and more reliable while also allowing owners to be able to see what's going on within each room. Okay, so before we go into the actual program, I do want to go over the burn down chart for this specific sprint. All right, so as we can see here, this sprint showed a noticeable improvement compared to our previous sprints. We as a team were able to complete all of the planned user stories for the sprint, as noted by the end here on March 4th, which is today. Um, while our progress, as you can see up at the top, it was flatlined for a few days, but let's see, toward day 7 was really when we were able to hit the ground running, which is way better than our other two sprints. And it matches a little bit more closely to the linear projection shown. Uh, we stayed much more consistent, and like I said, we finished the sprint with all planned work completed. That being said, I think we did a pretty good job with this one. Right. That being said, I think we should take a look at the actual code, or rather the program. Let's see here. Run. Okay. So for this one, I'll be logging in as an admin, which is basically, Okay, for all that loading, I didn't realize my caps lock was on. So here we are looking at a couple of the implementations that we put in the system. So let's start with gym. First things first, as you can see here, we have the gym class options. We can now edit room details. So I have the name of the room. We'll say that this is Krav Maga, and we have a famous MMA, no, a famous Krav Maga instructor teaching it. Andreas, perfect. Perfect. As you can see, there it is. Okay. I saved it down, and as we can see, it is down there with the notes. Andreas Burkert is teaching the Krav Maga room. And when we close it out, open that back up, we can see that the information is still there. Uh, Next part, we have our owner tab. And what that does is it allows us to manage the students and see a quicker, more condensed version of the list of students that we can add. This is basically just for owners, so that way they have a much more streamlined version than trainers. And same with scheduling classes. Like we have a small, quick way to implement or to add additional classes, private, make it private, and select trainers as well. Next thing I want to go over is the member records. We're able to add trainers and students. Alrighty. So first, if we're gonna have Andreas uh, teach or teach a class, we should probably have him on, we'll say, Krav Maga trainer, 1034. And then we'll say his email is at gmail.com. We'll set his belt rank, do black 3 for all the way across the board, and then that adds it to the database. Same for student. We'll put myself, fine, names at page at gmail.com. Let's say I am a white belt and I am going to train with this guy. Right, so I'm added here. And when we go to manage students, I'm also in manage students as well. So that's fantastic. Um, Here, I'm going to reset the program so that way I can log in as a student. Alrighty, so for this one, we have Bob Jones. I logged in as Bob Jones, and I am going to put in a note. Okay, so as we can see here, I put, yes, this was fantastic and amazing stuff, just something random. And then I'm going to log back into owner and should not see any notes created by Bob Jones. Okay, and as we log in, we can see here that there are no session notes created for Bob Jones anywhere in our owner domain. And with that, I would say that overall we were all pretty happy with the outcome. The only thing that I could was that as a team, we could have improved our communication just a bit. So we could have talked about our technical design and testing before we actually started implementing. Uh, while we did deliver the required functionality for most of these user story tasks, some effort was redirected toward resolving more, I want to say, structural or configuration issues. In the next sprint, if we actually did have a next sprint, we could aim to confirm decisions earlier, um, and we could maintain even smaller, more incremental changes to improve code quality and efficiency without hindering on the process. Thank you so much. And this is Con Haynes with the Hanseatic group.